Okay. So, like I said, we're going to be looking at joins today. Do anybody have any questions as regard what we talked about yesterday? Probably you did something on your own yesterday and probably you didn't get anything. Does anybody have any question before we actually jump into what we have for today? Okay, so all right, let's go. So today, like I said earlier, we're going to be looking at join, like different join, and when I said join, how to like combine or merge tables together. We actually call that data modeling. You know, when you model your data within SQL. For example, now in a particular database, you can have multiple tables. Like I said earlier, you can have as many as like 30 or 40 tables in a database, depending on the type of information that you process in your company. So, and when you're trying to like answer some business questions, you have to like actually link up or model some tables together for you to answer that question. So the process of joining different tables together to answer a simple question or business question in SQL is what we call modeling. And we're going to be looking at different types of join that we have to do. So currently my Postgres now, so I'm still using the Danny's Dana data I created yesterday. So select it to just create a new query. Now, for joins, we have different types of join. So we have different types of join, and majorly it's just like map two tables together. We have the inner join, we have the outer join, we have the left join, we have the right join, and we have the cross join. So depending on the types of mapping or modeling you want to do, so you can actually pick the ones that actually suit your needs. So now let me quickly open up something just for us to understand the join better. I think I have a tab open here just to show us different joins and how it's being done graphically so that you can actually see it. So when you want to join two tables together, you actually join them based on their keys. I I said something about primary keys and foreign keys the other time. So we join tables together based on using the primary key and foreign key. So primary key is the original key of a particular table. So it's a column that actually is an identifier of a particular column. That's the primary, also of a particular table. That's the primary key. And when we talk about foreign key is the identifier of another table. Foreign key is the identifier of another table. So we have primary key and we have foreign key. So we wanted to like join tables together now. You use the primary key and foreign key to join them together uh in SQL. So that's that about primary key and foreign key. Now the next one we want to talk about now is now the different types of join that we have before we actually go into like some practical aspect of it. Let's say I have table A and table B and I wanted to join them together. We have five main type of joints. We have the outer join, we have the inner join, we have the ordinary join, we have the left join, we have the right join, and we have the cross join. So those are the different types of join that we have. Now, this is an example of an outer join. Now, an outer join combines the column from all tables or one or more common dimension when possible. For example, now I have table one and I have table two. So I wanted to join these tables together to just like to get me a single table for me to answer my question. Now, when we are talking about outer join is going to combine all the rows and all the columns within the two tables and bring them together. Notice that for the first one, I have I have three columns here, and for the second one, I also have three columns. And for the first table, I have two rows, and for the second table, I have three rows. Now, if I join the two together now, I'm going to get what four rows in total. The reason being is this. So I'm joining one. You can see when I join the result, this is what I'm going to get for my join. So this is an example of what outer join is joining all the rows and all the columns within the two tables just to give you a single table. That is outer join. That is outer join. Now the other joins that we have is we have the inner join. Inner join is just joining the two rows that are actually common to the two tables. So it's actually joining the rows that are common to the two tables. For example, now I'm joining table one, which contains one and two, and I'm joining table two, which contains one, three, four. So what is actually common in these two tables is one. That is why its result is giving me one as like the output. So it's actually joining the rows that are actually common So for example, now this column that I have here is the primary key for table one. Let's say this is the primary key for table one, that one and two. And the foreign key is 1, 2, 1, 3, 4. Now it's going to join them based together based on correlation of the keys. So if we have common keys in table one and table two, that is what is going to like return as your output for inner join. Notice that we don't have uh key 3 in table 1, we don't have key 4 in table 1, and we don't have key 2 in table what? In table 2. That's why it's not resulting in it, because it doesn't see any keys to join them on. So that is actually for inner join. And you can see what they wrote here. An inner join combines the column on a common dimension. It only combines what the common keys between the two tables. And the only common key between these two tables is key 1. That's why it's returning only what? Only key 1. Then we have the left join. Now the left join actually gives preference to the tables on the left. So you give preference to table on the left. So all the tables on the left and everything that actually correlates with it on the right is what is going to return. So what I have on the left is 1 and 2, key 1 and 2, and I have 1, 3, 1, 3, 4 at the right hand side. Now, what this one is going to do now is this. It's going to return all the values, all the rows that I have in table 1 and everything that actually correlates with it in table 2. So for example, now the only one that correlates with table 1 is a 1. And the reason why it's returning everything in table 1 is because table 1 is on the left side. That's why I call it left join. So that's why it's returning only 1 and 2. So it couldn't find any keys on the table 1 that correlate with 3 and 4. That's why it's not returning anything for them. And that is actually what we have for as a result here. So same goes for the right join. So when we talk about the right join actually gives preference to the tables on the right. So in this case now, if I'm to use right join for this, what I'm going to be getting as my output is just 1, 3, and 4. Because I don't have any, there is no value that correlates with, there is no key 2 in table 2. So it's not going to return that. So the only one that we have here is just 1, 3, 4. And the only one keys that correlate with table 2 is key 1 here. And that's what's going to return. 1, 3, 4 will be the output table. And that is the left join. So you give preference to the tables on the right. Sorry, right join. So give preference table on the right, while left join give preference to the table on the left. So those are left and right join. So the last join that we're actually going to be looking at, which is the last one, is cross join. So cross join, union join. That's where we have 1, 2, 1, 3, and 4. So it's going to be mapping everything that we have here, everything that we have in table 2 with table 1. So no, that's not cross join. So this is cross join. Sorry. So cross join is going to be mapping everything that we have in table 1 with table 2. That's why we have 1 and 1, 1 and 3, 1 and 4. And also it's going to take the second one, 2 and 1, 2 and 3, and 2 and 4. This is what we call cross join in SQL. So those are the basic joins that we have. Now let's now look at how this actually works in real sense of it. So I'm going to switch to my Postgres now. So the table we have here is the Dynas table. We have the members, we have the menu, and we have the sales. So before we can join them, we have to identify which one of them is the primary key and which one is the foreign key. So I'll actually just bring out all the tables so as to see what I have here before I start joining them together.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I'm actually trying to tell you. So if I run this first one that I have here, now see I have the table here and I have the customer ID as the key. This is the sales table. I have the customer ID and I have the product ID. And if I run this other one also, I have the product ID for this one. So product ID for this particular menu table is actually the primary key because it's the one that identify each product that we are selling. So product ID as the primary key. Then we have the members table. These are just the member. So we have the customer ID as the primary key for the members table. So for the sales table now that we're on here, so the customer ID and the product ID on the sales table are both foreign keys. So the two of them are both foreign keys here. So I can actually link up these tables together using those foreign keys and primary keys. Let's say for example now I want to like join sales table with menu table. I want to join sales table with menu table. Now in this case now I can actually use join to do that. And why would I have to use join? Now what I want to get is I want to join the sales table with menu table. What I want to get now is I want you to give me all the rows of what of this product ID that we have in the sales ID. So that is what that one is going to give me. So if I have any product ID here, if I have any product ID here and it's not on the sales, it's not going to return that particular row. In this case, I'm going to select and to join select star, that probably I'm going to start to return all the columns. Sales. Now you just join. So select star from sales, join, then you have to put the table you want to join on, which is the menu in this case. I put menu. Now when you are joining, you have to state which column are you joining them on. So I have to like put the column I'm joining them on in the code. So I'm going to put on. So on. Now the first thing is like I have to state the column I'm joining on the sales column on sales dot. Since I'm joining them based on product ID on sales dot product ID equals to, that is when the sales for dot product ID is equal to menu dot product ID. So this is a very simple example of a join in SQL. So what we are doing is that we are joining the sales table. We are joining the sales table with the menu table, and these are the columns we are joining them on. We have to state the column where the product ID is equal to what is when the sales the product ID is equal to menu dot product ID, and this is what I'm going to get here now. And you can see the two tables is combined together. You can see, so we have the customer ID, and we only have what we only have the rules. We only have the rules that actually have this unique ID common in the two. So for example, now I have one product ID 123 in my menu table and also have it in my sales table. So the common keys are the one that is going to return. The rows that have the common keys are the one that is going to return, and that's what we have here. So let's say for example now the product ID, the menu table has maybe product ID 4, and he couldn't find it in sales. It's not going to return that rows, and that is a very good example of join in SQL. Is are you with me? Do you get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So that's an example of joining this. So now what will now determine whether I'm going to be using left join, I'm going to be using right join is the type of information I want to see. Let's say, for example, now I have a table sales. I'm actually particular about all the information in the sales table. So I want it to return all the information that I have in the sales table and any matching one from the menu table. Let's say that's a very good example. So I want to return all the rows in the sales table and any matching one from the menu table. So I can use left join. So I can use left join in that kind of case. Uh, Left join. So how does left join work? So it's just the same method with this thing. So if I'm to use the left join now, it's select star asterisk from sales, left join cement uh one second on. So you just have to like put the same thing that we have here on sales dot product ID is equal to uh the other one. So that's what we're going to do. And the same table we have here. Now let's actually try it out with let's not try it out with let's try join with the members table. You notice that for the members table, we don't have all the customer ID on the members table. So we only have customer ID A and B on the members table. And if I check the sales, I'll have customer ID B, C. So if I try to join the sales table with the members table now, it's only going to return information for customer A and customer B. It's not going to return for customer C because we don't have customer C on the members table. So that's how that works. We select asterisk from sales to join. So another thing is when you are talking about join, in join and inner join are actually the same thing. They do the same thing. I don't know why you have to give it different names. So when we're talking about inner join and join, they actually do the same thing. They return the same result. So you can use join or inner join. Either one is actually okay. So join uh member on sales dot member equals to sorry sales dot customer ID equals to members dot customer ID. I run this now. See what we have here now. You notice we are not having the result for there's a result for customer ID C because we don't have that information. And that is why this is actually returning this. So if you try the outer join in this case now, if I try the outer join with these two tables, then I'm going to have information for the customer C. But for the other table that doesn't have that particular customer ID, it's going to be returning empty cells for them. So that this is going to be select story from sales outer join. Number nine. So if I return this, okay, yes, syntax and your answer. Customer ID sales. Customers.
I think the problem is on the second line, outer join members.
Okay. Yeah, it should be outside join because I'm actually trying to like join the two tables together. Uh, hmm, let's try full outside join. Okay. So full outer join. So now if you check the output now, you notice that we have the result for customer A and it's actually joining them based on the customer ID A. Now what we get for B is actually joining them for B. But when it gets to C, so we have customer C for the sales table, but we don't have customer C for what for the members table. So it's returning null for this. And this is just like an example of how the outer join works. If I actually use inner join for this or join, it's only going to return the value for this particular one. But for outer join, then it is going to return the result for the first table that we have there. But the other one that doesn't have any value is going to return them as what? As null. And that is actually how these joins, how they work. And the last one that we actually have now is okay. I think you can see the answer. Okay. Okay, I think okay, you can go now.
So if the three tables we are working on has the same column like product ID, can
Mm-hmm.
we join the three, use join for the three uh,
Table.
tables at the same time? Say equal.
Yes, you
So
can
when we
just.
say sales equals to
Mm-hmm.
where this equals to menu, where is equals to
Mm-hmm.
product. All right.
Yeah, you can join the tables together. You can join as many
Can try
tables
as
as you
much
want.
as possible. Okay.
Yeah. So we are going to try like three tables. I'm going to show you an example of three tables very soon. Like we should have things that are common to. So I'm going to show you how to join three tables very soon. Okay. So Mr. Akasimi.
Yeah, thank you. Please,
All right.
I humbly request you comment out the the queries so that while
Okay.
reviewing we'll
Okay.
be able to know which
Okay.
is. Thank you.
Okay. 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 You're welcome, sir. So I'm going to do that. So that's that. So the first one is just this one is, let me do that. This one is join. And like I said, you can use join or inner join. It's still going to give you the same results. Join and inner join are like the same thing. So join, and this other one is left join, left join. This other one is, okay, this one is actually ordinary join. So this one is outer join. Now for cross join is just so if I wanted to join two tables together on cross join, what I need to do is just select, select cross join, select everything from sales, everything from sales, uh, cross join, cross join. Um, let's see members now. Run this, and this is what we get. And you can see it is actually longer. So is what is actually doing is like all the values that we have on a table, on the sales table, is joining them, cross joining them with what all the values that we have on the members table, and that is what we have for cross join. And you can see that for the first row of sales table, it joining with the first row of members table, first row of sales table, joining with second row of members table, take the second row, join it like that for everything. And that is an example of cross join. And that's just like a simple join that we have in SQL. So what actually now determine which of these join you are to use, or how many tables you are joining together, is the questions you are trying to answer. So it's the business questions that you want to answer that actually determine what you are going to like join together. So I'm going to do an example of joining like three tables together now. Let's say, for example, I want to join the sales table. Let me see whether they have something in common. I have the sales table, so I have the customer ID and product ID. Yeah, I can join the three tables together. So I want to join the sales table, the menu table, and the members table together just to give me a single table. So I can actually do that using ordinary join. So select, then three table, select uh everything from um, sales, join, let's say menu first, menu. So, and what do we want to join it? What do we want to join this table on? Then you are going to do is on private sales dot. What is actually common to the sales and the menu table is the product ID. Sales dot product ID equals to menu dot product ID. So that's the first one. So another one, you might want to like do another join. So I'm going to do join again, join. So in this case now, I'm joining the third one, which is the members table with the menu. So what will actually come up with the menu and members? Is anything come up with the menu and member? Let's see, for example, before I actually jump. Uh, so they have a product ID. They have product ID in this thing. Okay, so I can actually join it based on sales. So I can say join, which is less than, which is members on sales dot customer ID equals to members dot customer ID. So you can join three tables like this, and you can join as many tables. You can join like four, you can join like five, you can join like six, you can join like seven, and like that, like that. So let me run this quickly so that we can see. I mean, then we get our results now. You can see the three tables are joined together in just a single table. And any question that you want to answer with this table, you can actually go ahead and answer it with it. So that's just join, ordinary join. So do we have any question before we look here? Please, you can go ahead. Someone actually.
Please, can you go through it again? Thank you, Mr. Ola.
Okay, what part is that?
This joining of three tables.
Tables. Okay, so now if I have tables I want to join, like three tables or four tables or five tables together. So what I need to do now is this. I have to identify the tables I'm joining together and the columns are actually common to the tables I'm joining. That is, I'm talking about the primary key and the foreign keys of the two tables. So I noticed that the primary key that I have under the sales table is the customer. Sorry, I have foreign keys under the sales table, which is the product ID and customer ID. Now, product ID is actually the primary key for the menu table. Just if you check it now, these are the key that I have. I have the customer ID and I have the product ID. Then if you check what's it called again, menu, we have the product ID. So product ID on the menu table is actually the primary key. So I can link the sales and the menu table together using the product ID because that's the key that is common to the two tables. Now, if I check the members table now, members table has its own primary key as the customer ID here. Now, if I wanted to like join tables together, I don't have customer ID under the product table, which is the menu, but I have it under the sales. So what I can do is like I can only join members with the sales table because they have keys that are common to each other. So in that case now, if you are joining three tables together, just like I said, so it's going to be select. So the first table that you want to join, which actually the tables that has the highest number of keys, sales in this case. So select star, sorry, from sales. So now the first table you want to join, then I want to join the first table, which is uh menu. So join menu. So what am I joining the menu? So in this case, I'm joining the menu with the sales table. So what column am I joining them on? So that I have to state the column I'm joining them on. For this now, sales dot what is common to the two tables is the product ID. Sales dot product ID equals to menu, because I have menu, we have product ID on the menu, equals to menu dot product ID. So that is the first join that you're doing joining together. So that's the first join that you're joining together. So the second join I want to do now is I want to join now the members table. Now, if I'm joining the members table with this existing table now, I have to like look for the table I have to join it on. So I don't have any keys that actually correlate with the members table on the menu table. So I only have it on the sales. So I'm still going to be joining the members table with sales so that everything can be just a single table. So that will be on so another join will now be join again, which is a new table I'm going to join. Members. So what am I joining the members on? So I'm joining the members with the sales table, and the columns that actually common to the two of them is the customer ID. So I'm going to state what I'm joining them on. Sales dot customer ID. You know, originally we'll have these two tables like combined together. So we already have these two tables already existing now. So I want to join another table with it, and I'm actually using the sales customer ID to join the new table. So customer ID equals to members dot customer ID. So that is actually how you join the table. So if I run this now, this should give me the result of the three tables combined together. And that's what we have here. Uh do you do you have any question? Okay. Okay, Mr. Adigoke, go ahead.
Yeah, can we go back to that screen? Yeah. So let's assume that the members table
Okay.
has product ID. If
As
instead
what?
of product ID column,
Okay, yeah, yeah, product category.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So instead of using the second join, we can just add the second equal to on the sales product ID equals to menu product ID equals to members product ID. Will that work?
That will not work if you actually like, okay, you mean putting everything on the same way like this,
Yeah. If we had
right?
had the product ID on the members table,
No,
do
no, no, it
do
won't
not
work.
include
So you have
equals
to
to.
like,
We now have to use
no, it
another
won't work.
join.
You have to use another join for this. No, no, it won't work because it won't recognize the table before it. So this join, this on that you do, actually recognize the table before it. Since we don't have the third table before it, so it's actually not going to recognize it. You get what I'm saying?
So we can only use two tables under it.
Under it, you can only use two tables under it.
So if to add the third or fourth table, we have to add another join.
You have to
So,
add another join. Yes,
okay.
to do that. Mr. Casman.
Yeah, yeah, please, yeah. Still on the join.
Okay.
What what of if we just have say um join and then you put in, then
Okay.
if the two tables, for instance, have uh, column that is common.
To
If
the
the three
12,
tables have columns that are that is common, so can we say join in, then
no.
put in brackets the
Okay.
all the tables, and then
Oh,
on
the
the
tables.
yes, and then
Yeah.
under on we now put the columns that are in common as it is
No.
on a single line.
No. So actually, it will not work that way. It will not work that way. When I understand what you're saying. Like, let's just put in since they all have the same probably columns that are common to each other. No, it will not work that way. So you have to actually state for each joining that you are doing, for each two tables that are merging together, you have to state which column you are joining them on. So like packing everything together actually will not work for the join.
It's all right. Thank
Very
you.
good. Yeah, Mr. Akitini. Okay, Mr. Akitini.
Okay. The same question that everybody is asking. Would a logical operator like AND work? On if
Okay.
you have AND, then combining the two, the sales and the members table. I'll be just wondering if it will work.
Yeah, and we work. But when we use this logical operator, is actually to like get another form of table, another answer. And we work, but it's not going to give you this probably the result of the two tables. We use and all this logical operator when we are actually trying to do another form of like analysis.
Okay.
So for actually joining the two tables, like it won't work, but and can work when we're actually doing some further analysis. We're actually going to look at some of the ways we can use and with this tables joining also. So it works.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks.
so all right, you're welcome. So that's actually the basic joining now. Like that's just the basic way of joining tables in Postgres. Like Mr. Actually mentioned that there is also actually some other things that is added to it, which is the advanced part of joining. Probably you adding this and operator or the or operator, but it's not actually for joining, bringing the two tables together. It's actually for answering some or doing some for other form of analysis, which we're actually going to get there when we get to the advanced part. So now what we want to do now is this. We actually been joining and been doing all these things now. Now let's just see how this thing actually come together in real in real world, how you can actually use this thing to answer questions. So I'm going to actually go to the Danny's Diner question now so that we can answer some question with all these things that we've learned so far, all these commands. So okay. So we have the, let me check the case study one, which is this. So I'm actually going to just walk you through the whole thing, just because you have to know the introduction before you can answer the question very well. So this is the introduction. So Danny seriously loves Japanese food. So in the beginning of 2021, decides to embark upon a risky venture and open up a cute little restaurant that sells his three favorite food, sushi, curry, and ramen. Danny Zana is in need of your assistance to help the restaurant stay afloat. The restaurant has captured some very, very basic data from their few months of operation, but I have no idea on how to use the data to help run the business. So this is like the business problem. Danny wants to use the data to answer a few questions about his customer, especially about their visiting patterns, how much money they've spent, and also which menu items are their favorites. Having this deeper connection with his customer will help him deliver a better and more personalized experience for his loyal customers. So he plans on using this insight to help him decide whether he should expand the existing customer loyalty program. Additionally, he needs help to generate some basic data sets so his team can easily inspect the data without needing to use SQL. So Danny has provided us with these tables now, and these are the three tables that we have. We have the sales table, we have the menu table, we have the members table. Now, entity relationship diagram. When you actually in your database, when you're actually working with database, they should they will always provide you with entity relationship diagram. Probably the database administrator, or what's it called, or yeah, or your data engineer, anybody like that. They will actually give you an entity relationship diagram. So the whole use of this entity relationship diagram is just to tell you the type of relationship that exists between tables, and which tables actually link with the other table, and which column are they joined on, or you can link them on. Because if you actually try to find that one out on your own, it's actually a lot stressful. Let's say I have like 50 tables now. You can't be looking at each of the table and now be jotting down which table is actually linked with the other table and which table does not link the other table. So entity relationship diagram actually just gives us an overview of the types of relationship that exist within our database. Just to make sure. So the type of relationship that exists between our database, and this is it now. So we have the sales table, we have the members table, and this actually inform you on when to join, which column to, which table to join, and which table not to join. You understand? Like, something like that. So we have the sales table and we have the members table. We have the menu table, and you can see that the sales table actually link up with the members table using the um customer ID. And the type of relationship that exists between them is the what is one-to-many relationship. I believe you understand what I mean by one-to-many relationship. Yeah. So, and also for the product and sales and menu also what have something in common, and is it the type of relationship that exists between them is also what one-to-many relationship. So we don't have actually many-to-many relationship here, or one-to-many relationship. So this is like an a star schema. Yeah, someone was actually from me a star schema the other time. And what I mean by this is this: we have the fact table. The sales table is the fact table, while the members and the menu table are the dimension table. So when you're actually linking up the sales table and the fact table together, the type of relationship that exists between them is one-to-many relationship. So that's that. So this is an example of a star schema. So that's the relationship diagram, just for your information. And this is a sample of the table that we are going to be working with. We have the dates, we have this, and we have that. Now let's look at the questions and what we can do. So the first question says here that what is the total amount each customer spends at the restaurant? So the first way you can actually tackle this question is like, first of all, identify the table you are using first. So you have to identify the table you are using to answer this question. So from the question now, we said, what is the total amount each customer spends at the restaurant? So please, what tables are we using to answer this question now? What table do you think we are using to answer this question? Anybody? Okay, you can go ahead. Yeah, Mr. Axel, you can go ahead. Sir?
I believe it should be the sales table. Sales table.
Sales table. Okay. Sales table. So total amount each customer spends at the restaurant. Is it only the sales table we are going to use for this? I don't believe it's only the sales table.
Okay, sales and the members table.
And product table.
Sales and the product table. No. actually is we are not using the we are actually not using the members table here.
Okay.
So what we're actually using is the sales and the menu table. Why are we using sales and the menu table? Because we wanted to see the total amount each customer spent at the restaurant. Now the price of each product is under the menu table. Do you understand now?
Yeah.
The price is under the menu table, and for us to get the total amount they spent, we have to like reference to this to the amount to the price.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why we're using the sales and the menu table, and we are going to be to do that. So that's just the two tables we are using to answer this first question. So let's go there and write our query how to answer the question. So in this case now, we are going to be doing join because we are using two tables, so we are going to be joining them together. So what we are to do now is going to be select. Now the first table which we are actually using now is what they want to do. What they want to see in the question is let me go back to it again. Sorry. What is the total amount each customer spent at the restaurant? So we need the customer information as one of the column we are going to be returning and the total amount spent. So for me now to write the whole thing is going to be select customer ID, and since I'm joining two tables together, I'm joining the sales table and the menu table together. So it's better to put the name of the column you actually get, the name of the table you are getting this customer ID from. Because if you have two tables that have the same column in it and you're writing customer table and you're writing customer ID, so you are going to get error when you run the code because it's going to be asking you which customer ID are you using? Is it from table A or from table B? So it's better to put the name of the table before the column you are selecting. So select sales.customer ID like this. That is the customer ID from the sales table. Then the next one is now the price. So I'm going to be doing sum of price. So sum, because we are looking for total, so we are using sum. So sum, I'm going to put price here. So price like that, so that the two table we are looking for as. So I can rename this one as total amount. Select price as total amount from, that's when we now do the journey. From the first table is the sales, from sales. And what we are going to be using, the next one is just the journey table together. So select customer ID, sum of price as total amount from sales, join menu. Then we're going to be stating the listing on sales dots. What is common to the two of them is the product ID, I believe. Product ID equals to menu dot product ID. Now this is the joining now. So after running this now on this thing, so what do you think is going to come next after this? Do you think this is the end of the code, or I'm to add something to it again? So this is the general question now. So do you think that's our code is actually correct? Okay, someone is actually, you can go ahead, please. Who is that? I'm not seeing the person that. Providence, you can go ahead. Providence, are you there? Okay. Yeah, Adikuki, you can go ahead.
Yeah, since the question says each customer, so we have to group by each of the customer.
Thank you. So we have to put in group by there. So that's the next thing that's going to group by. You notice I said that in the other time that whenever you aggregate a column on probably another column, you aggregate a variable or value on another column. For example, I'm aggregating the total price based on the customer now. Then I have to use group by. So that will be group by customer ID. So you might want to order your this thing too. Just order it so that we can see. Order by. This one is not actually necessary, but just to make the whole thing look nice. If I run this now, so this is the total amount spent by each customer. So this is the total amount spent by each customer. So it's adding up all the amount. So for customer A now, customer A has spent $76 $. customer B has spent $74 and customer C has spent $36. So that is actually the questions, like to answer to the first question. And do we have any question on this before we actually take it to the next one? Any question from anyone? Okay. So now let's look at another question from this uh from this question. And they said, how many days has each customer visited the restaurant? We are not going to be looking at the days now because we've actually not talked about dates. So I'm not going to be looking at it. So what was the first item from the menu purchased by each customer? So for us to answer this question, so for us to answer this first question, third question, we also need the dates. So we are actually not going to be doing this item for each of them. So because if I wanted to like get the first item purchased, I'm going to get the first item based on the date. Now let's say, okay, let's look at the first question. Say, yeah, say what is the most purchased item on the menu, and how many times was it purchased by all customers? Yes, this we can answer this. So for this question 4 now, what table do you think we are going to be using? Hmm.
What? Sales
Okay,
and products table, I think.
sales and product table. Okay. So what is the most purchased item on the menu and how many times was it purchased? Yeah, sales and okay. Yeah, sales and we are going to be using
Menu.
sales and menu. Yeah, thank you. We're going to be using menu also. Hello? Okay, I can hear you. Is someone trying to say something? So we are going to be using menu and we're going to be using sales. So those are the two
Okay,
tables that
the
yes,
menu
go
table
ahead.
is our product. Okay, so we don't have a product table, it's actually menu table. Okay.
Yeah, the product table
Okay.
is the menu table.
Right.
Yes, yeah,
The
the
menu
product table
table.
is the
Okay,
menu table.
thanks. So,
Yeah. So that's what we're going to be using now. So now to answer this question now, what is the most purchased item on the menu and how many times was it purchased by all customers? Now, this is like a very tricky something, and this is where SQL actually gets interesting. You're writing the query just to answer this whole thing. Now to do that now, we'll do the item like the most purchased item for the menu. So I'm going to be like selecting the name of the item first. That will now be select menu dot product name. That is the one to select the product underscore name. Then the next one is now what counts. Because you know what actually determines whether the item that actually is most purchased is we have to do the count from the sales table. You understand now? So how many times is this particular item bought from the and we can actually get that information from the sales table. So in that case, we are going to be doing count. And in this case, not distinct count, it's just ordinary count. That will be count into brackets. Product, oh sorry, I said product sales dot product ID. So this, I'm counting the number of product ID in the sales table, and this one is going to give me the number of times that each product has been bought. Then we can now see the one that actually the most purchased item. So in that case, after doing that, I'm just going to join the two tables together. So let me rename this one as most purchased underscore item. Most purchased item. So that's a from. That is what we're going to be now joining tables together from sales dot what actually and the product ID should be product ID join the way sorry from sales product ID from sales join menu on that will now be sales dot products underscore ID equals to menu dot products underscore ID. Now this is the code that is going to give us all the number of times that each product has been bought actually. So this one is going to give us the number of times that each product has been bought. But what they want to see now is the most purchased item. They just want to see just the most purchased item now in this case. So first of all, before I actually go to that, I have to group it, group by. Then you have to do group by. After getting the group by um menu dot product ID, menu dot product name rather. The product name. So that's that. So after joining them group by menu, so I can order it again, order by. So if I want to order this one now, I'm going to order it based on the most purchased item because what I want to return is just most purchased item. So I'm going to order the based on the most purchased item in descending order. You understand? So that will be order by most purchased underscore. Okay, I didn't get that one right. Item. So in this case, I want to order it by this. I want to order it in descending order. So in descending order, and for me to now return the most purchased item, I can just put limit here. Limit 1. You see why I have to order it now. So when I order it in descending order, it's going to give me the most purchased item to be the first row. Then I want to return that just first row as limit is equal to what? 1. That means to return the first row. So I actually run this now. This should give me my answer if our code is correct. And it actually ramen. Ramen is the most purchased item for this particular question. And it's purchased 8 times. Do we actually get that, or do we have any question on this?
I did not get it. Oh, thank you. Can you please?
Okay. So now let's actually break it down. Now, me looking at the question. Okay, I have some people answer. Okay, Mr. Akisende.
Oh, I just wanted to remind you to put the comments so that if we are reviewing
Okay.
later, we can always know what teacher speaks to. I think you've missed it once or twice.
Once for the first one. Yeah, it's twice. I'm going to put it for the second one, for the first one so that we can actually guess. Okay. So this is a question. We actually deal with number 4 question. It says what is the total amount each customer spent? No, sorry, number 4. What is the most purchased item on the menu? And how many times was it purchased by all customers? You want to know the most purchased item. Like I'm selling product A and B. So which of these products is my customer buying the most? Now, to know that, we are using 2 tables. So from the question that you determine the tables you have to use. Actually, before you have actually familiarize yourself with the table, so you know all the tables that you have there. So looking at the question, I have to identify the tables I'm to use. So in this case now, I'm using the menu table that contains the product information. So the menu table contains the product information, and I'm using the sales table that contains the day-to-day transaction. So those are the 2 tables I'm to use now. So what I'm to use now is like from the sales table, I have to do the count of times, the number of times that each product has been bought by just doing counts. So how many times do we have this product in this place? Just to get a count, and that will tell us the number of times that each product has been bought. So after identifying those 2 things now, so what we need to do is just let's go to the question now. So what I did here is this. I'm going to comment. I said select menu.product name. So the reason why I asked is put menu in the first place is this. Whenever you're actually joining 2 tables together, or you're joining 3 tables together and you're trying to answer a question, it is best to put the name of the table and before the column name. So this is just telling me that I'm getting this product name from this menu table. That's menu.product name. So then the next one is now the count. From the sales table, we have the product ID. So I want to count the number of times that each product ID and the number of times each product ID appears from the sales table. So that will give me the count, the number of times that our customer actually bought that item. So after doing that, then we label it as most purchased item from sales. So the 2 tables that we are using is the sales table and the menu table. So from sales, join menu. And what are we joining the 2 tables on? We are joining them based on the product ID. So joining based on the product ID. And whenever you use aggregate functions, when I talked about that yesterday, that whenever you use aggregate functions now and you aggregate on a particular column name, the next thing that comes after it is the group by. So you have to do group by. So group by product name. So because the product name that I'm actually looking at is grouped by many dot product name. And after grouping it like that, we are going to get our table, which is the normal table like this. Let me just run this without the other one. So we get all the table now. So we can see the total number of times that each product has been bought. So ramen is 8 times, sushi is 3 times, and curry is 4 times. So after doing that now, I now have to order it based on the most purchased item. Sorry, just a minute. Let me actually accept some. Okay. So I have to order it based on the most purchased item in descending order. Descending order that the first item, the most purchased item will come first. And since actually they need the most purchased item, I just use limit one just to return the first one, the first rows that we have here. And that's how we actually got our result. And this is these are our binary result, which is that. So that is that. So do you get that part?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's yeah, welcome. So that's on this first one. So let me actually label this question so that we can have this. Let me just copy this thing here. So the first question and let's put this. Hold on. Okay. Okay, that first question. So that's for this one also. So question 4. Then I have this also. Let me bring this thing to this slide. So that's the question for the second. So now let's check the other question and see whether there's any other one that we can actually solve that doesn't require all these advanced something. They say which item was the most popular for each customer? Which item was the most popular for each customer? Let's try that. Let's see whether we can actually bring that. But are we not going to be using another thing for this? We're going to be using CTE for this. Which item was purchased by the customer after they became a member? Which item was purchased before they became a member? What is the other one require CTE? If what is the total item amount spent for each member before they became a member? If each item equates to 10 points, and so she has 2 times what? How many points with each customer? Okay. You can go ahead, Mr. Adibuki.
Yeah, I think we can still solve that other question. Which item
Which one
was
is
the
that?
popular for each customer? Number 5.
Which item is the most popular for each customer? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's try that.
Like it's
So
gonna
that's
be count. You're gonna count based on the product by count the highest number of products by each customer.
Mm, yes, we are going to actually get that from the table. But what I'm actually doing is this: for us to return those items alone, to return the item in just a single item, we have to use another function for that. But if we are going to get all the tables that just show all of them, we can do that with this thing. So to do that now, let's try that and you see what I'm saying. Now, so which item was the most popular for each customer? So what I'm going to do now is what table are we using for this now? What table are we using to answer this? What table are we using
The
to answer
menu,
this?
menu
Yeah,
table.
we are using the main table and we're using the sales table. So now what actually comes about? What is that definition of popular? In the sense that, so what do you think they mean by which item is the most popular for each customer? That word popular. So the word popular is the keyword there. So how do we convert the popular to a metric? What metric are we going to use? Yes, you can go ahead. I have some here.
This
Yeah, it's
this
Uh,
count.
things count.
We count. We want to know the number of times
uh,
for each product
each item
purchased. Right?
bought. Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be count. It's not going to be distinct count though. Distinct count is just going to like tell us probably okay, they've actually bought this product before. But the most popular is the item that each customer they like,
That
and they
that's
actually purchase it.
maximum.
Uh, maximum. No, no,
Maximum
no. So we are,
item
yeah,
purchased by customer.
we can use maximum, but we cannot use maximum in this case in this that we have to get the count. So we are doing maximum. Maximum is like probably we already have the value. For example, if I have a column that says the maybe number of times that they actually purchase a particular product, then we can use maximum. But in this case now, we have to count it. We have to get the number of times that they bought the product. So we can't use maximum in this case. But we are going to use counts for this. So this is what we are going to do now. So in this case, we are getting based on two values. So that will be select. Let me actually comment out this so as we can. Okay. So which item? Let's do this. Uh, so which item was the most popular for Mr. Okay. So now to write the formula now, that will be select. So the first one I'm going to be putting now is which customer, what is the most popular item for each customer. So the first thing is customer ID. So let me just say sales dot customer ID. That's the first one. So the next table I'm going to be using now is the product because they wanted to see this thing like the most purchased item based on product and based on customer. So the next one will now be menu dot product name. Let's use product name in this case now. And the product name. So the next one is now count. That's the next column, count. So we are going to use the count like we use for this one. This will give us the most purchased item for using because we're actually getting this. So I'm going to be using this. That's that. And that's like the most purchased the popular. Let me ask popular. Is anyone like that? Popular item. So the next thing is just to join our table. So from sales join menu on sales dot product ID. That's what actually is coming to the two of them equals to menu dot product ID group by. So after doing all that, so we have to do group by. So when we are grouping it by, we have to group by these two columns. Group by sales dot customer ID, comma menu dot product name. So if I run this now, this will give me, and we can actually figure out which item was it. So if I run this as popular, okay, so as popular item. Yeah, so we have it here now. And the reason why I said we have to use CT the other time was that now for me to just bring out only the customers that actually have probably the highest like the products for each customer, then I have to use CT to bring it out. But in this case now, we have to be looking at it by ourselves to now look at okay, which item is the most popular for each customer. So for example, now looking at it for customer A now, the most popular item for it is actually ramen because they bought ramen in 3 times. So let me actually sort this thing. Let me sort it. Let me order it and see what's my order by. Let's see what we can get. Customer ID in ascending order. Customer ID in ascending order and popular item. Let's say in descending order. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, now so for customer A now, the most popular item for customer A is actually ramen because he has bought the item 3 times. For customer B, so customer B does not really have popular item because everything for customer B is actually popular item. You understand? Because he has bought sushi 2 times, he has bought curry 2 times, and he has bought uh ramen 2 times. So everything for this particular one is actually the most popular item. But for customer C has actually bought just one product, which is ramen. They actually bought that 3 times. So the most popular item for customer A is ramen, and for customer B, actually everything. And for customer C is actually ramen. And that's one question to that. But the other one, if you are now to bring this thing out, you understand now? If you are now to bring this thing out to just take uh which one is now actually the most popular, just return the one that is most popular again, then we have to use another function. But I feel like this one actually just give us some insight on as to how that one can be answered. Do we get that? Do we have any question on this? Anybody? Okay. We don't have any questions. So that is actually how you okay. I have someone. Okay, Mr. Akisde. Right.
Mine is a very
Okay.
general question. It's a question I've been asking myself since
Okay.
yesterday, which is if I can easily connect my data to
Yeah.
Power BI and visualize, why do I want to go through the stress of writing SQL queries to get insights from my data?
Now,
I'm just wondering.
yeah, so
Yeah.
the thing about SQL queries is this. Sometimes when you're actually linking up your what's it called now, your Power BI to Postgres to get the data there, what is actually doing underneath is actually writing a query for you, but you are not seeing it. Another thing is this: there is for you to be able to like now work with some table, you have to create some tables within your SQL and define some metrics before you actually import them to Power BI to work with. You understand? Another function about all these things is this is sometimes we just want to get a simple answer, just like I said something like about ad hoc analysis. Ad hoc analysis is just like okay, they just actually ask you from the office. Maybe my boss just saying, okay, give me this information. We don't have to go to Power BI to now bring this. I can just write a single query, bring out the table, save it, and send it to him, probably in a CSV file or anything like that. So that's another way to do this thing, to work with this thing. And also, having this knowledge of SQL will actually help you when you are doing modeling. You know, we have what we call transactional database, and we have what we call data warehouse. Let me actually explain these two things now. There's transactional database, there is a warehouse. We don't work with the transactional database. You understand now? Transactional database are just database that actually we use like into that our app used to just do our day-to-day activities. And all the activity that is going on within the company is actually carried out on the transactional database. So we don't use a transactional database for analytical purpose. And another thing is this: when you're trying to like create a matrix, probably you're trying to create a matrix, and if you mistakenly just create a metric and update it and save it in the transactional database, you spoil everything. So nobody wants to risk that thing just for you to mess up with the transactional database. So what we do is this: we extract the table that we need from the transactional database and put it in what we call a data warehouse. So a data warehouse is just like a database that is used for analytical purpose alone. Now, the data that we have in the transactional database are just different tables that is actually catering for different things within your application or your website or anything like that. Now, before we can now bring in the tables into this data warehouse, we have to model them. We have to model the table and define the metrics that we needed for our analysis. So that's why you have to sit down with the business people. I think that's we as a data analyst and probably the data engineers. So we sit down together. We come together on okay, what are the metrics that we need? That we need in the company that we need in the company. What are the major metrics that we need to track our performance in the company? So you as a data analyst, you come the idea, and okay, these are the things that we need. Then you will now write that thing in form of an SQL query. So when you write that in the form of an SQL query, then you are going to transform the resulting table to a data warehouse. So is the resulting table that we actually use for our probably Power BI and everything and stuff like that. So in that part, when you are trying to actually define your metrics, you need the knowledge of SQL very, very, very well, because that is where you actually model your data. You define your metrics, you need a particular table and everything like that. Because in real life, you might not get a table that looks like this, Danny designer price or anything like that. So you have to like create it on your own before you actually populate it into your database. That's another reason why SQL is actually important. So now today let's go to other questions that we have here. Let's see. Which item was purchased first by the customer after the team member? Can be this or not. Which item was purchased just before the customer became a member? What is the total item amount spent for each customer member before they became a member? He said if each $1 spent equals to 10 points, and Sushi has 2 times point multiplier, how many points will each customer have? Ah, okay. This actually would be a very nice thing. So if each item, let me try and do something like this. So I want to create like a simple table. No problem, just a minute, so that we can answer this question. Create a simple table. Okay. Now, there's something we call CTE. Let me quickly explain that. Although I'm still going to explain data. There's something we call CTE. So the full meaning of CTE is common table expression. So we call CTE as common table expression. It's just a way of like creating a temporary table that you want to use for a particular analysis or a metrics. So if I wanted to create a simple table that I'm still going to use just to calculate a particular metrics, then we use CTE. So we call it common table expression. So how does that work? So for us to use CTE, I'm going to do something like this with the name of the table that you wanted to like create. So with, let's say, table A, let me just call it table A. The table A as, so that's how it works. The table A as, then you use your select function. So I can say the table as select or from sales join menu on sales dot typing equals to menu. So when we have this particular table here now, so if I run this is going to give me a table, and you know what this one is going to give us actually? It's going to give us a table of both the sales and the menu joined together as the same one. So if I just run this now, this is the resulting table. You can see it actually merged the table now. So what actually CT does is this: it tends to create this table and put it up here. So that's probably if you wanted to do another maybe transformation and you needed this table first, so you can create this table in the CT, then you can actually write your other transformation with it. So another thing I'm actually talking about, this is what I'm saying now. So after creating this CT now, let's say for example I want to manipulate this table that I have, but I needed to create this table first before I actually do some further manipulation. That's why you actually need CT. So I can just select what I did the other time. I select sum of price, okay, let's say customer ID, select customer ID, comma, sum of price from. So in this case now, I'm not actually referring to any other table before. So I'm referring to this table that I created in this CT. And this CT is like a temporary table that you use within a query. So select table A. So if I run this thing now, so for me to now use this CT now, I have to run this thing together. It's going to be like this. Okay, customer ID. Okay, group by. by customer. Let's go hide this. I run this. So this is an example of a city. And what I mean is this. So what this particular second query is actually doing is actually referencing the first table, which is the one that will create in this city. And this first table is like probably like a temporary table. So the result that he's using for this particular one is actually gotten from this. So the first table is going to run first, and the result of this table is what he's going to be using. So that's an example of city. So we actually do this when you're actually writing very maybe complicated queries that you need to create maybe multiple tables before you actually now merge the two together and do some manipulation and some processing with it. So for this question that I want to like go into now, we are going to use CT for it. So this third question that we have here, it said if each customer spends, if each $1 spent by each customer equals to 10 points, if each dollar spent by each customer equals to 10 points, and Sushi has 2 times point multiplier. So how many points will each customer have? How many points will each customer have? So how do we answer this type of question using the CT? And let's actually try that and see how that works. But please, do you understand what my brief explanation about CT before I actually move ahead to this? Do we understand the whole CT thing? Common table expression.
I think it might be helpful to go over it again.
Okay.
The concept is clear, but it's still a bit somewhat fuzzy in my head.
Okay. So now what let me actually go over it again. So what we actually use CT for is this. Sometimes when you are writing some advanced queries, you need to like create probably a small table that you needed for further processing or further manipulation, just as in a single query. Now, I wanted to calculate the total. I want to calculate the total price, total amount, or total price for each customer. But what I have is this: I have a table that contains customer information and a table that contains what's it called? Price information. Now I'm looking for a table that just contains 2 information. So what I'm going to do now is this: I'm going to write a CT query just to bring a single table that contains the 2 information that I needed, which is this. I needed the customer information, I needed the price information, and they are on different tables. So I had a CT, like a temporary table, to just bring the 2 together and give me a single table that contains those information. And I put that in CT, which is select star from sales, join menu on sales of product ID equals to menu of product ID. This is an example of a table. Now, since I've actually created a table that contains the 2 information I needed, so I can easily just go ahead and now write select customer ID sum of price from table A. So in this case now, I'm not referencing the maybe a table from my database again. I'm referencing this table that I created with this CT, which is the table I needed for further analysis. It might be probably maybe you wanted to do some analysis and the metrics or the columns that you needed for that analysis is in maybe 3 or 4 different tables. So you can actually write a CTE, which is a common table expression that brings all those information together into a single table that you can now further process or analyze or manipulate to get your answer. That is just the logic behind CTE, just creating a simple table before they're now referring to that table for further manipulation or anything like that. Do you get that? Is that actually clear? Okay.
Thanks.
So now, what I want to do now is I want to use a CD to do that. So they said, let's actually get this question. But they said, if each dollar spent equals to 10 points, if each dollar spent equals to 10 points, so if each customer spent $1, they are going to be getting 10 points. If a customer spends like maybe $15, then that's like 10 times 15. That's 150 points. If each dollar spent equals to 10 points, and Sushi has 2 times points multiplier. So for Sushi, there is actually a multiplier effect there. So $1 spent for Sushi is going to be like 20 points. Do you understand? That's for Sushi. So how many points will each customer have? So we want to know the total point that each customer is going to have. So what I'm going to do now is this. I'm going to create a table that actually calculates the points. That's what I want to do first. So because I don't have the points in any table, so I have to create a table that calculates the points before I now add up the point for each customer. So how do we now create a point? So what function do you think we can use to like get a column that is going to give us the point for each uh for each customer? What function can we use to do that? Okay, so for this now, I'm going to be using the case. So I'm going to be using the case for this. So I'm going to be using city with, let's just call this one point city as open on the bracket, then you write select menu dot product ID just to get a point for each listing. Menu dot product underscore ID comma. Yeah, I'm going to use case here. Case. So in this case now, when the product ID is equal to 1, then that will be price times 20. So why are we using price times 20? The reason why we're using price times 20 is because product ID 1 from the table is what? Is sushi. You understand now? Product ID 1, let's look at it. Product ID 1 is sushi. And from this particular question, and they said what? For sushi, you have 2 times points multiplier. So for each dollar spent for sushi, we are going to be getting 20 what? 20 points. That's the logic behind that one. So for that, that will be when the product ID is not equals to what? When the product ID is equals to 1, then the price is equal to 20. When equals to 1, then that'll be price times 20. So that's the first one. So the second one is not like else. That is every other one. Else. Price times 10. So that's the second question. So we actually create this thing. So we can call this one to be our point table. So we're just going to be end. Call this table as points. So that's down from main. So I created a point table. So I want to use this point table to now calculate the point for each customer. So to do that, I'm going to be referencing this point table, which is a point CT, to create the new metrics I'm about to do now. So select for the which answer to the question itself. Select sales dot customer ID. Sales dot customer ID, comma, sum of points. That will be CTE, point CTE dots points. So as total points, total points from sales join on CTE on sales dot product ID. Sales dot product ID equals to points. So group by ID customer ID, and we can order it by. Okay, and this ends off again. So we've actually running this table now to get my answer. I have to run everything together from the first city and everything. And if I get this now, get it right. What do we do wrong? Okay, what sales? Okay, so the sales. Sales. Okay, point city. Uh, okay, and this is what we have. So these are the total point that each customer is going to be getting. I believe we all have some questions and some this thing. So please, I will be taking the questions now on the query. Any question on this query on what I just wrote now? I know it's a bit somehow, but let me take a question that I can break it down more. So any question on this particular query?
I didn't understand it for one, but maybe if I rewatch
Okay,
the thing again, I would probably
okay,
get it. Because right now I'm just confused. I've just seen things.
okay,
I'm probably guessing if I try to watch this video
uh,
again, I probably
okay,
understand because I
I'm
really don't
getting.
understand it now. Hey,
Okay,
God.
okay.
It's like abracadabra.
No, it's not actually abracadabra. Let's
No, it's not
is
abracadabra. I said it's just like.
so now this is the let's break down the question. Let's just do this thing because we actually ran it up. Now look at the question. They said if each dollar spent equate to 10 points, that is, let's say for example now you go to a particular you come to Danny's restaurant to get some food now. So if you spend $1 there, then you are getting 1 point. So if you spend $20, that's like 20 times 10 points, that's 200 points. But for sushi, it is 20 points per $1 spent. Every other product is 10 points. So ramen and curry, if you spend $1, probably you want to like give you maybe a promo or maybe a gift card or something. What do you call that thing? A coupons or something like that. Just for how much you've spent and based on your points. I think MTN does that. When you recharge, you get points. I don't know. Yeah. So when you recharge, you get points. So they wanted to give you a point. Maybe they wanted to give you a reward at the end of your points when you now get like 1,000 points, something like that. So for each dollar spent equals to 10 points. And Sushi has 20 points for each dollar spent. So how many points would each customer have? Now, what you are to do now is this. All the total amount that each customer has spent. For example, now, if probably I've spent like $20 on ramen, that would be 20 times 10. And if I spent probably, that's like 200, right? If I spent $10 on curry, that's 10 times 10, that's 100, that's 300 points. And if I've spent maybe $10 on sushi, that's 10 times 20, that's like 200, that's like 500 points. So for me now, my point is 500. So that is the logic. That is how this thing looks like. So when we come to our query here, now the first thing I need to do now is this. We don't have any table that shows the points. So I wanted to create a points column for the what for the menu table. You notice that we have menu for the ordinary menu. Let me just run the menu so that you can see what I mean here. So if I run menu, I just will select asterisk from menu. So this is actually giving me the product ID and the price. You can see it's giving me the product ID and the price. So I actually wanted to put the points in another column in this table now. So that's why I actually create with CT. That's as a select menu.product ID, that is from this particular menu now. Case when product ID. So I'm trying to create a column. I'm trying to create a point column now that is going to give me the points that each product is going to be given. So when the product ID is equal to 1, then price times 20. You understand now? So when the product ID is equal to 1, that's price times 20. Remember that the reason why we are multiplying the 20 by the price is because for sushi, they said is 2 times multiplier. That is 20 points. So 20 times price will give us the total points that anybody that bought sushi is going to go get it. And the second one else, multiply the price by what? By 10. That is for curry and ramen. That is not sushi. And if you run this table now, let me just run it without actually using the CT. See what we are going to get now. So this is the point for each product. So if any customer buy this product now, the point that is going to be getting is 200 points. So I can now sum it together, like number of times that he has bought product ID 1, sum it together. That will now give me total point that he's going to be getting. For product ID 2, this is the point, and for product ID 3, which is the what 150. So I've actually calculated this table here, which is in the CT. Then I reference that table in this second part here. So now like sales customer ID, sum of all the points, for each sales, a total point from sales, join what the point CT on what on the product ID, group by customer ID and that. So when we run all this, that should give us our total points. And that's how we get this particular one. I believe I believe when you actually like go over it again and look to it again, I'm very, very sure you will understand, because it's a bit tricky at first.
I'm hoping the assignment will give us will not be like this.
I don't want to scatter the brain actually. So the thing is this, let me tell you the bitter truth about this thing. I didn't expect it. That's why I said you should take your time. But the first time I actually try on this project, this particular thing, sorry, someone reached out to me that okay, I was actually doing a mentorship. Like someone is actually mentoring me on something, and he told me that okay, how's my SQL skills? Like how good I am with SQL. That was the question that the person asked me. I'm good. How good is my SQL skills? I said 7/10. That's what I told the person. I said 7/10 because I was actually writing on some select and I'm getting my answer, and I'm actually feeling myself. I'm actually writing something. Say okay, now before we can actually start, or before you can accept that I'm 7/10 in my SQL skill, I should go and do this Danny's Diner challenge and just give me actually submit my query to him so that I can cross check it and see how good I am with my query for Danny's Diner 1, for that case study, for that course case study. It's been like 3 weeks. And like just like going back and forth, doing some research and everything. And even when I submit my this thing, the person still like flag something that why will you do this one? Why will you do this one? That's just a second question. But the moment I finish all the case studies, I take it upon myself to just go through all the case study and finish everything. But the moment I finish it, I was able to understand some like main concept of this SQL queries, how to write SQL query, how to combine it and everything like that. But seriously, the Danny's Diner project is a whole lot of work, and it's going to like a bit, stress you a bit. But when you finish it, you are going to come out strong. And like you said, I'm going to be giving you some assignments on some of this, but I'm not going to be giving everything. I'm just going to give you some of it just to try out. And when you are doing it, you have to do your research also. Like use Google, use everything just to get your answer. But it's something I should try out.
Maybe you'll find the questions you have to answer, because these are questions, they are expert advanced questions.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
I've
So
not even used case before. This one you are using case, using CT. I've not even used that. I'm seeing this for the first time.
first time. So you're actually your assignment is not going to be on this Danny's Diner or anything. No, it's going to be a different thing. But you still have to try it out sometimes. Like when you're actually good, you take your time to study it, try it out. But it's not going to be on Danny's Diner because I know it's a whole lot. But if you want to try it out, you can actually just take it and just what is there? Let's just do it. But it's fun though. So any any other question for today? Any other question? I think someone asked the other time that how you can import CSV. Yeah, I think there's a question like that yesterday. Okay, Mr. Akitele.
Yes, please. There's one SQL book I just realized that I have. It's a very old book.
Okay.
Published year 2000, so it's already 24 years old. So I was just wondering, could this help at all, or I shouldn't just waste my
It
time
will.
with it? So it doesn't.
It
I'm
will.
not in old technology.
Old.
That was my
It
concern.
will.
Okay.
You see, one thing about SQL is this. I don't think probably we have some of the SQL function that are actually deprecated, in the sense that maybe we don't have some old commands in it. No, no,
Okay.
it will help. It will help. It will help.
Okay.
It
All
will
right.
help. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. So, you're welcome. So, I'm going to actually send in some textbooks too. So, I have a textbook on Postgres. I'm going to send it to the group page. So, for those that actually wanted to like use some textbooks to learn and everything like that, yeah, I'm going to send you some textbooks for you. But do we have any other questions? Any other questions as regards
Yeah.
our today, Mr. Casper? Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir.
Yesterday, one, you said
Yeah.
you demonstrate how to
Seriously.
import file
Okay. Yeah.
into SQL,
Yeah.
and secondly, um, if the database from the transactional website or
Mhm.
database, if we
Mhm.
are asked to, if they use SQL as their database and then we are asked to visualize it using Power BI, so how can we
Mhm.
navigate our paths into
Okay. So
Power
yeah,
BI to do the work?
that
Think.
that's the two things. So there is the first one. I'm going to show you how to like bring in a CSV file in your Postgres shortly. Now for the second one, it is a two-way thing. There is something you have to like actually do first, but because of what I'm using here, because of the normal Postgres, I can actually just link up my Postgres with my Power BI, but that's just for the sample SQL. Now, but for the real life, they have to give you access. Now, the database administrator, nobody, you can't access anybody database without giving you access. So they have to give you access, probably like a login, or you can use all these ODBC, open source database, something like that. So that's like a linkage between your database and your Power BI. But we can actually do some simple way, or just show you some sample ways you can link up your Power BI with your Postgres. I will show you that. So you have to just supply some like a password and your password and your login details. The password and login details that you actually use when you're actually installing your what's it called now, your Postgres, you are going to need it to like connect it. So we can do that. But first of all, let me just show you how you can bring in your table or your CSV file within in your database or populate it in your database. So you can actually populate your CSV file into your table within your database in two ways. So the first one is like you must have created probably like a schema. You will have created a schema in a table, like an empty table that just contains the column you are trying to like populate. You will have done that first. And you can do that by just writing the create table, determine the column that you want to do and stuff like that. That's the first one. So the second one can be just you selecting the table like this and just right clicking on it and click on create. So when you create table, you click on table. Now from this, you have to define the table that you wanted to create. You're just giving, let me I don't know, let me just call this one sales. I've actually had sales. Let's say class. Let's use a class now. And that's on the table. Now you have to define the name of the columns that you want for this table. You understand now? You have to like define the name of this column that you want. Like you have to state the name and data type of each columns. And this is actually very, very, very important. So you state the column, you state the name of the column. If you have like three columns there. So what you're actually doing here, you are creating the schema. So that when you now restore the database, this database will not be creating, you'll not be using the schema. It's just populating the data that it has in that Excel file into that particular table. So you have to define the name of the tables. So after doing that, so the next one you have to do now is just a minute. Okay. So after doing that, just create and save. So I've actually created this table now. So I don't have any column on it. So I can click on column to just create a column. Create column. So I can define the column that I want here now. Probably this column now, I just call it maybe students student ID. Then I have to define the variable type, like that's the variable name, definition, security, because the data type cannot be empty. So what's the data type? Okay, not null, and default for the variable name. Data type. Things not this one. Okay, just a minute. Looking for this thing. Okay, please go there. Show you. Yes, please. Yes. Let's colon. Okay. Okay. So you have to put the name of the column. Let's say sales ID, or let me just call it student ID. Let me just call ID. Then come to this definition here now. You have to select the data type. So is it variable character? Is it big integer? Is it this and that? You know, different data type that you have there. So you have to select data type you want to get for this particular ID. So I'm going to like select maybe chart. Let me select chart. Let me select integer, for example, big integer. So the length of the big integer, I can say let's just leave it as being integer. So being integer. So after doing that, if there's any constraint within your database, that is what this one is trying to say now is like you don't want any column within database to be empty. That's not null. So you have to like determine your. I can select it as not null. Then the variable part you actually define that one and security and that. So when you are done, you can see what this one is doing for me is adding the column. This is the query that is writing underneath student column ID student ID they are not now. Then after I'm done with this, I can just click save. So you have to create the column that you want for all this particular table now within this class. You have to create all the columns that you want. So after you are done with creating your column, so let me just try to create a CSV file, an Excel file that contains. So let's say this one is I have the sales ID. Okay, I call it student ID. Let us call ID and let me just populate it with some values. Let's say 23, 24. So drag this thing down now. So I can save this as data post. Postgres, so save this on download, and that's that. So I want to populate this table now that I have here now into that table created. So I'm going to right click on it, and you can see import data. So you're going to select import data. So when you click on import data, it's asking you what type of data you want to like select. It's a CSV file. You can see that's the format. And if you have any other format, you can actually just select it. But this one is a CSV file. So you have to navigate to where you have that CSV file from your distance. So download, and I have this thing. Is that this place I call this thing now? Hold on. Check this.
I thought you
Okay,
named ID or something. You know that what you
okay,
named it.
okay. Yeah, it's Postgres. What happened is, oh, sorry, it's an Excel file. I saved it as an Excel file. I didn't save it as a CSV file. You understand? That's why I couldn't find it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have to like, yeah, hey, so it's an Excel file. I didn't save
Yeah.
it as a CSV file, so you have to save it as a CSV file. Sorry, so let me just resave this thing as a save as and browse. And, yeah, so click put your download, then you have to change the CSV file. Okay, CSV file, and that's that. So if I go back now, and just do this thing and bring it here and load the my file, download. Then I have it here, so I can now bring it in, open. So that's that. So we can now import this table. So if I try to import it now, encoding is UTF-8 encoding. So sometimes your file can be encoded in different way. We have different type of encoding like Latin 1, UTF-8. So you have to select the proper encoding. So encoding is this, and just click OK. And you can see copy data. Database driver progress for team. So let's check the table. Let's see whether it has been populated first. Select star from class. What's going on? So we don't have our table here. Let me refresh this thing. Yes, we don't have values here. Okay. So let's refresh and see what this one is going to give us again. Select star from class. Still don't have anything. Let's do that thing again. Let's export CSV file, please go as a CSV. Sure. Okay, header. Okay. Yeah. Column imports, no, anything like that. So let's do this thing again. Yeah. So we have to actually just enable that header. That's he has header. That's the danger. So if I actually run this thing again now, I should get my list. Then I have it. You can see this is my students, my table, and that's how you can bring in CSV file, any other file, populate it into your Postgres. Do you have any question? Do you answer that? Any question on that, Mr. Akason? Did you get that?
Now I'm still trying to wrap what he did around my head. Perhaps I'll
Really?
understand later.
Yeah. So it's actually very easy. Just create a table, and you have to create a table. Either you create it manually by right clicking on the table and give it a name, or you write a code, like a code for it, the way we create a table the other time.
But
And when you are creating a table, okay, I'm with you.
is there no way we can, like those data sets we use in Power BI? Is that not how we can just import them and use them here without writing all these queries and all that?
Yes, I know what you say. So there's another one whereby there's a downloadable data file, database file. You understand that we work with in your project. There's a downloadable database file. Like we have these renters, what's it called now? I have some downloadable data files here, like DVD rentals and
Yeah.
everything. Whereby you could just, what you need to do is just restore the database, all the tables and everything we populated in your sorry, in your database. There's a way we can do that, but these days the time is actually gone and I need to run now. So probably our next meeting, if I listen, I will actually show you that. But please remind me how you can restore the database. But there's a way you can do that.
It's all
There's a way
right.
you can do that. And also, please remind me of the Power BI thing too when we get there. So I'm going to do that one.
All right.
So please, do you have any other questions? Any other question for today? Okay, if there's no any other question, thank you for your time. Please, I'm going to send the video. I'm going to send the video for the advanced part. We are so slow. We have actually been so busy with some other things. You can see none of my people are here. They are so really busy with some things. That's why they're not here today. So we are going to work on the video this week. Hopefully this weekend we are going to drop it. Then we are going to send in assignments this week too, so that we can have time to actually just go through it and have time to like practice the assignment and everything. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Whatever the time is it.
You
Thank you,
too, sir.
everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All right.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
Thank you so
Have a
much.
great
you very
Okay.
much. You're welcome. Yeah, thank you.